In the spring of 2022, reports of an active kidnapping ignited a perilous high-speed police chase that ended in a tragic crash on Interstate 25 near Santa Fe, New Mexico. The catastrophic head-on collision resulted in the loss of 2 lives. Once the alleged abductee was safely in police custody, she revealed a story so extraordinary it was hard to believe. Hi, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. This week we're diving into a chilling case that unraveled over several days in March 2022. It's yet another example of how initial appearances can be deceiving. Let's dig in. At around 11 a.m. on March 2, 2022, Santa Fe resident Richard Muser left his home at the Vizcaya apartment complex near St. Francis Drive to run errands. In the parking lot, he encountered a woman in distress inside a white Chevy Malibu. The car was parked perpendicular to his vehicle, blocking him in. Richard noticed the woman arguing with a male passenger before she called out for help. Acting quickly, Richard dialed 911 as the white Malibu sped away from the lot. Richard Muser, Vo. "There's a lady in my parking lot here at the Vizcaya apartments," he reported. "She asked me to call the police. Somebody's in her car, won't get out, and she says he has a knife." 8 minutes later, Officer Romero from the Santa Fe PD spotted the car and activated his lights and sirens. Instead of stopping, the Malibu accelerated, weaving through traffic, running red lights and making dangerous U-turns. The car's erratic path soon led it southbound into the northbound lanes of Interstate 25, traveling at speeds exceeding 80 miles per hour. Emergency calls flooded in. "Caller, VO. A white car almost hit me head-on," one caller reported. Close behind, Officers Duran and Norris pursued the vehicle with Officer Romero paralleling them in the southbound lanes, hoping to cut off the Malibu if it made another U-turn. As the white Malibu barreled down the wrong side of the interstate, its driver forced oncoming vehicles off the road. Some managed to swerve out of harm's way, but not all were so fortunate. The Malibu narrowly avoided several collisions before tragedy struck. The driver of a black GMC pickup truck attempting to evade the oncoming car collided head-on with Officer Duran's cruiser. The devastating crash caused a chain reaction, with other vehicles, including another Santa Fe police cruiser, also involved. Dashcam footage from a nearby semi-truck captured the horrifying scene. In the aftermath, officers scrambled to assess the damage and help survivors. Among them was the woman from the white Malibu, who emerged from the vehicle and ran toward police with her hands raised. "Officer, VO. Where is he?" an officer demanded. "Jeannine Hero, VO. He ran that way," the woman cried, referring to her alleged abductor, Mark Lopez. She claimed he had fled into the surrounding brush armed with a gun. Officers secured her in a cruiser as they began a frantic search for Lopez. But inconsistencies in her story soon raised suspicions. The woman, identified as 46-year-old Jeannine Hero, was taken to a hospital for injuries she claimed to have sustained during the kidnapping and chase. However, these injuries appeared minimal upon examination. Meanwhile, the crash claimed the lives of 2 individuals: 43-year-old Officer Robert Duran, a father of 2 and beloved member of the Santa Fe PD, and 62-year-old retired firefighter Frank Lovato, a husband, father, and grandfather from Las Vegas. As authorities scoured the area for Lopez, Jeannine's account of the events began to crumble under scrutiny. Officers never saw anyone else exit the white Malibu during the crash. In fact, Jeannine was seen escaping from the driver's side of the vehicle, a detail that contradicted her claim that she wasn't driving. Adding to the suspicion, the car's computer data showed no passenger in the seat during the chase. Investigators discovered that the Malibu had been reported stolen 2 days earlier, and Jeannine had a criminal history riddled with car thefts and police chases. Her claims of being abducted by Lopez started to look like a desperate attempt to cover up her own actions. Despite the mounting evidence, Jeannine clung to her story during questioning, describing Lopez as an ex-boyfriend who had threatened her with a knife and gasoline, intending to set her on fire. Yet physical evidence, including fibers and DNA from the driver's seat, linked her directly to the crime. As the investigation deepened, the truth came into sharp focus. Jeannine was not the victim she claimed to be. Instead, she had orchestrated a chaotic and dangerous series of events that resulted in 2 tragic deaths. Her lies unraveled piece by piece, painting a picture of a woman desperate to escape accountability. This case serves as a haunting reminder of the devastating consequences of reckless actions and deception. Stay tuned for more chilling stories here on True Crime Stories. After the stolen vehicle Jeannine Jaramillo was driving crashed into a fence and veered back onto the road, she told deputies a harrowing story, claiming that she had been held captive. She described her alleged abductor as a man wearing a red shirt, black jacket, and black pants. However, her story quickly began to unravel under scrutiny. Jeannine provided a detailed but inconsistent account of events. When questioned about how the supposed kidnapper had controlled her while she was driving, her answers were contradictory. She claimed the man was on the floorboard of the car, yet somehow managed to hold a knife to her neck and prevent her from stopping the vehicle. Police officers investigating the incident found no evidence of another person in the car at the time of the crash. The New Mexico State Police soon identified and questioned a man named Mark Thomas Lopez, whose name and description Jeannine had given to authorities. After a thorough investigation, Lopez was cleared of any involvement in the incident. Police concluded that Jeannine had fabricated the entire kidnapping story. 3 days after the fatal crash that claimed the lives of Officer Robert Duran and retired firefighter Frank Lovato, Jeannine Jaramillo was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The charges stemmed from the police chase she initiated, driving a stolen vehicle recklessly and endangering the public. Authorities also charged her with aggravated fleeing causing great bodily harm by vehicle, making a false report, and reckless driving. The prosecution pursued 2 theories of first-degree murder, neither requiring proof of premeditation. The first was felony murder, which applies when a death occurs during the commission of a felony, such as stealing a car and fleeing police. The second theory, depraved mind murder, involved demonstrating that Jeannine's reckless disregard for human life made her actions inherently dangerous. During the trial, the prosecution relied heavily on eyewitness testimony, physical evidence, and surveillance footage. 2 officers, Norris and Romero, testified that they saw Jeannine crawl out of the driver's side window after the crash. She immediately claimed that her supposed abductor had tried to kill her. However, their accounts, combined with the evidence, revealed that no one else had been in the vehicle at the time of the crash. The defense, led by attorney David Silva, argued that the police pursuit violated department policies by failing to limit the number of officers involved and continuing the chase at high speeds despite the risks. Silva contended that Officer Duran, one of the victims, bore some responsibility for the crash by not calling off the pursuit. He also argued that the first-degree murder charges were inappropriate, claiming that there was no evidence Jeannine had acted with intent or malice. Further investigation revealed that Jeannine's claims about her abductor had a kernel of truth. Her boyfriend, Jerry Chavez, had been in the stolen vehicle with her earlier that day. The two had argued and Jeannine had demanded he leave the car. When he refused, she called out to a bystander claiming Chavez had a knife and was threatening her. Chavez eventually exited the vehicle before the police chase began, a fact corroborated by blurry surveillance footage. However, Jeannine omitted Chavez from her later accounts entirely, instead concocting a false narrative of a violent, unknown kidnapper. The state's evidence and witness testimony dismantled her story, leaving little room for doubt about her responsibility for the crash. Despite her attorney's arguments, the jury found Jeannine Jaramillo guilty on all charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder. At her sentencing, Jeannine expressed remorse, apologizing to the families of Officer Duran and Frank Lovato. However, her apology stopped short of full accountability, as she maintained that she did not cause the crash. Judge Mary Marlowe Summer rejected Jeannine's plea for leniency, citing the devastating impact of her actions. After 5 days of evidence and testimony, the jury said "You did," the judge stated. She sentenced Jeannine to life imprisonment for each murder charge with an additional 3 years for the related offenses. At 49 years old, Jeannine Jaramillo will serve at least 60 years before she is eligible for parole. The victims' families delivered emotional impact statements highlighting the selflessness and dedication of both Officer Duran and Frank Lovato. One family member remarked, "He cared more for her life that day than she did for her own." The tragic deaths of Robert Duran and Frank Lovato underscore the profound risks law enforcement and first responders face in their commitment to public safety. While Jeannine Jaramillo's actions caused irreversible harm, the heroism of those lost will continue to be remembered as a testament to their integrity and service to their community.